Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom with today's edition of Behind the Headlines. We're talking about an in-depth series being published by the Post on mental illness. This is one of those projects that shows the kind of incredible reporting that is possible when a news organization dedicates the time and resources to really drill down on a subject, and this one is important. Joining me to talk about this mental illness series is investigative reporter Jennifer Brown. First of all, how long did you work on this series?
We started this series back in the spring, and we spent about 8 months on it. Myself and photographer Craig Walker and videographer Mihaela Gaylord.
And what prompted the whole series to begin with?
I think it's that Colorado has had its fair share, as we all know, of tragedies that have been linked to mental illness, and usually when those happen, there's a lot of politically charged conversation, and we wanted to take it back a few steps and look at mental illness from the ground up and see where the gaps are in the system and who's not getting treatment that needs it before it escalates to these crises.
It's incredible reporting. You guys have profiled numerous people. How did you find these people, and how did you get them to so graciously agree to share such a vulnerable part of their lives?
Well, that's part of the reason I think that it took 8 months to do. We spent a lot of time searching for the right people. A lot of people, heard about it and weren't ready yet. And there's so much stigma around mental illness that it took some convincing in some instances to get people to share their story as openly as they ended up doing. We spent a lot of time in community clinics, at the Coalition for the Homeless and, in people's living rooms and friends of friends that we found that had these stories to tell.
And following them to their doctor's appointments and in and out of jail as well, right? Was there a common thread that you noticed among these people?
For sure, several of them. We tried to balance the series by including people who were maybe at the beginning stages of mental illness and still had their lives together, holding on to jobs in their homes, as far down as people who are living on the streets downtown Denver and cycling in and out of jail. And to tell all those stories, we found ourselves in some pretty interesting places that, hadn't been before, drug rehab centers inside the jail, mental health unit, a lot of time in clinics downtown.
As reporters, we come across experiences that really have an impact on us. How has this one impacted you? Has it changed you in any way?
I would say that it has given me a deeper perspective when you see stuff outside, whether you're downtown and you see people that are homeless and talking to themselves, or you see a mom at the Target whose kid is completely out of control. Instead of snapping to judgment on those things, it really made me think more about what's going on there mentally that, is a bigger problem.
How many people did you profile altogether?
A lot. I don't know the exact number. There's at least 10 stories in there. I'm 20 probably. In various ways, and there's some awesome video documentaries and that will all be online tomorrow, and it's a really interesting package because you have the story in the background and the writing, but you can also watch these amazing videos and see these wonderful pictures that have been to all these places that I'm talking about.
I've watched some of them already, and they really are insightful. Help us all to understand, hopefully, more about mental illness and what's going on in our community. How unusual is it to be able to have 8 months to work on a story?
It's pretty unusual. We're lucky enough to have a projects team here at the paper, and we often get as much time as we need to tell the story the right way, and I think that the top editors here just felt that this was such an important topic in Colorado and nationally that they were going to devote the time to make it be one of our biggest projects of the year.
What did you notice about our mental health system in this project?
Colorado does well in some areas, but we don't spend enough on mental health here, especially at the basic level. I mean, a recurring theme was that we spend a lot to treat people in prison and where they might be diagnosed for the first time, and in jail and at emergency rooms, instead of investing more resources in making sure that people get mental health care at the very start and preventative care, and when you could go to your primary care doctor's office and get a mental health screening so that you don't have to seek out a separate clinic down the road that you might never get to and then may end up in crisis.
Where does Colorado stand compared to other states? Is there a ranking that you...
There's rankings on several things, but in terms of the number of psychiatric care beds, Colorado is in the bottom 5 always. We've been the very last, but it kind of fluctuates in those bottom group of states. We're also below average in the per capita spending on mental health.
Okay. So anything else you want to add that you maybe, I know as a reporter, there's always so much you want to include in the story and not everything can make it in. Is there anything you want our audience to know that wasn't able to make it in the final version?
I would just say that mental illness is much more pervasive than I had realized before, and everybody knows somebody probably that's gone through this at some point in their life. The statistics are 1 in 4 people have some sort of mental health issue, and 1 in 17 have a serious mental health disorder like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. So it's a very real thing and all around us that people should pay more attention to.
All right. So we'll see online versions, and then it's in Sunday's paper, is that right?
The online versions will be on there tomorrow, including all the documentaries, and the series will run in print Sunday through Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Jen Brown, Mihaela, and also Craig Walker. Just incredible work that you guys have done, and hopefully this will give people an idea of what it takes really to put together a series 8 months worth of work. Congratulations on a job well done. So check out the series Mental Illness. It is in the Sunday paper and also online at denverpost.com. I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom with another edition of Behind the Headlines.